comes.
Yeah, I know, I did the same thing, Brenda. I thought, oh.
Yeah, we all got shifted around, looks like.
A little bit.
Yeah, one of the absences that kind of, okay, if you, since Jem's not here, if you want to move over.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you're out.
I was on the wrong side. I apologize.
I'll move it for you.
Thank you.
Now,
It's good to shake us up, make us pay attention.
Yeah, there you go. It is 6:30. So I shall call the meeting to order of the Oldsmar Planning Board. If everybody will join me in standing and sing the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. At the beginning of each meeting, we have an open forum, which means that anyone who wishes to speak to any item in the city, anything that's bothering them or anything like that, that's not on tonight's agenda. And tonight's agenda is the rezoning of 505 St. Petersburg Drive. So if there's anybody who plans to speak to this board tonight, either in open forum or to the item that's on tonight, if you would please stand and raise your right hand so that Krista may swear you in.
please stand. Thank you, and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we have first agenda on the item, first item of the, it's been a while since I've done this, so forgive me. The first item on the agenda tonight is approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. All right, now, correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen. The rezoning and rezoning, no, this is not split, so we do it all together, right? We don't have to do two items separately, do we?
I do not believe so.
I know the rezoning is one.
It just has to be conducted as a public hearing, so to make sure that we give the public that,
Okay, all right, very good.
that hearing part.
Okay, so at this time, we'll open the public hearing. And we will hear first from the Oldsmar Planning Department.
Good evening, Planning Board, Matt Jackson, Principal Planner. So yes, tonight we're discussing the rezoning located at 505 St. Petersburg Drive West. And our TVs are not working up here, so I'm gonna be doing that and then following on my computer. So as you can see here, this is the subject property located on the south side of St. Petersburg between Federal and Pine. All right. And the subject property is currently developed with a single-family home. And the current zoning of the site is R3 residential 2 and 3 family with the city land use designation of RU residential urban. The R3 designation requires a lot width of 75 feet and would allow right now up to 6 dwelling units. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing single-family home to construct 5 single-family homes. The property is surrounded by single-family homes to the south and west, as well as across the adjacent rights-of-way. All right. On the left-hand side of this slide, you can see the existing conditions where it's one unified lot with the single-family home shown. And then proposed would be to untie the property to have 5 lots and then 5 single-family homes. So the request then is to rezone the property from the R3 to the R2 to construct the 5 single-family homes. So again, in the R3, the minimum lot width is 75 feet. In the R2, it's 50 feet, which would allow construction of the homes. And again, the request then would result in 5 single-family homes, where at this time, they could actually construct 6 dwelling units. And this will return the site to the originally platted dimensions of each lot being 50 feet in width. All right. The variance request was reviewed against the conditions outlined in section 3.15.3. And again, the request includes the development of the site with 5 single-family homes, with the rezoning meeting all 10 conditions. And then based upon the application meeting, the LDC section 3.15.3, staff recommends approval of the rezoning request from R3 to R2 residential single family. This time I'm happy to answer any questions.
Steve, we'll start with you.
I don't have any questions.
Ed?
I don't have any questions. I rode by this residential area just before I came in, and I think new homes in this area will be very attractive.
No questions.
No questions. Well, I agree with Pat. Does that make you
Make
feel
it
better?
easy on me, aren't you? Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here? No, just a minute, the applicant, is the applicant here? You're here? You want to step up? Do you want to say anything to the board? If there's any questions. Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I'm curious how big the homes will be. Is it in here? I didn't see it.
If you will, sir, please step up to the podium, give us your name and your address, please.
So Sean Swagger, 601 Spruce Street, Oldsmar. Here on behalf of HSJ 191 LLC, the applicant. The home sites will follow the R2 zoning guidelines, so, the specifics we don't have any of that information, but.
Oh, the square footage you don't have?
Correct, but it'll meet all the codes of R2, and it'll be typical from what you see in the neighborhood. That's new construction.
Okay.
I do have a question on the barrier. Is there any discussion in regards to how the barriers, meaning like the landscaping barrier around, is there any speaking of what that will entail, number one, or if there's going to be any type of fencing or anything like that? And also regarding, there's not going to be any accessible road or anything connecting all the properties together, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And as far as the, boundary lines, that'll be up to the homeowners, but I'd imagine they do some fencing or
Okay,
landscaping.
okay, thank you.
Are they going to be single-story homes or 2 stories or more?
With it being in the flood zone, it's gonna need to be either stem wall construction to where they build it up, or, the stilt homes with the piers.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we can't, get away with building that low anymore.
But are you still, after the stilts, is it going to be 1 story or 2 stories above that?
Again, that'll be up to the homeowners who
Okay.
build the homes. So.
Anything else? Anybody else? So if they want 1 story, that's fine. If they want 2 stories, that's fine. Matt, I'm sorry. Matt, does that meet code?
So at this time, this is for the rezoning only.
Oh, okay.
To allow for, down the road, the applicant to submit building permit. And then once that subdivision is complete, then building permits can be submitted. But those would all have to follow the R2 zoning district standards regarding things such as the lot area, setbacks, height, parking, number of trees, so all the land development code standards. would need to be followed.
Okay, one of the things that, is anybody else? One of the things that kind of bothered me was when you put five homes on here, or 5 lots here, you're cutting the distance down to 50 feet in width, and then I don't know how, and then your homes will meet current standards. And then if these folks want to put a fence up, the fence has to be 7.5 feet from the house. I know, I just went through a rigmarole with the city of Oldsmar putting my fence up, and it took 8 months to get an approval to get it done. So I'm wondering now, my problem is, if they build these houses this close together and people didn't want to do things, are they gonna be allowed to do things because they don't meet code, or they don't meet regulations, or whatever? So that's my concern about putting this much on one little lot.
Well, these lots are very similar and typical to lots surrounding the area. And then with regarding to the fence question, the setback is 6 feet in the R2, not 7.5. So I don't, without the benefit of a survey of what you went through, I'm not sure why a 7.5 foot setback was required, and I don't know the zoning of your property. So
Okay.
specific to this property, which we're discussing tonight, the setbacks would be 6 feet on each side.
So has anybody done any calculations to look at, since we don't even know what's going to be built there, or they don't even have any, you don't even have any idea what's going to be built there, we may be looking at, okay, we can do this, but later on down the road, we're going to be looking at a lot of problems with people wanting to do things and they can't do them because there's not enough room, or some other regulation.
Well, the land development code standards are put there in place specific to these platted lots. So these lots, we're returning the site as originally platted, so 50 feet wide by 160 feet deep.
Yeah.
Which is plenty of room to build a single-family home. So just like when the lots were platted, land development code was adopted, the sites were bared, people would come in and develop them according to land development code standards. So I understand what you're saying, but anything that's outside of those standards, you know, there's variance processes which are allowable, but with the site's dimensions, the size of they are consistent with many of the sites around them, there should be no problem developing them according to the land development code without a variance. But approval of this rezoning and subsequent untying the land subdivision does not, and I apologize if I'm putting words in your mouth, but does not then say that down the road, we're gonna approve something that's not typically allowed
Right.
by code.
Right.
They still have to meet the land development code standards.
So if the setback is 6 feet, they have to be, so there's gonna be 12 feet between each house, right?
Correct.
Question, the way I understand this is just to approve the rezoning.
Yes.
Then when they do the plan and all that, it will come back to us for
Right.
approval, correct?
It's subdivision, not the physical, not the physical home designs and such.
Right, but I mean.
Correct.
But this lot, information like height and all of that will come back? No?
No, because they just have to follow the
The-
typical zoning
for the
district standards.
subdivision.
Right.
So, well, yes, the subdivision, correct.
Okay.
The lot sizes and such, yes.
Well, I understand that this is just it. I've been on this board for many, many years, and I've seen so many things where people have come in and asked for something, and it seems like it's great and good, and down the road, it's like, uh-oh, we shouldn't have done that. And I'm just worried that that might happen here. You know, I would feel much better if there was 4 homes instead of 5. But I know you didn't ask for that, so you're only asking, we can only rule on what you asked for.
Did I understand you to say there's room for 6? You're only gonna do
At-
5?
At this point in time, under the current zoning, Potentially, yes, they could construct 6 units
okay,
instead of
yeah.
the 5, so this actually is a less intensive route to develop the property.
Well, okay, that's all I have. Anybody, any other thing else? Anything? Thank you, Matt, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, at this time, well, I've already opened the podium.
Yeah.
When I shouldn't have, didn't I? Okay, we'll open the public hearing at this time. Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this proposal, please step up to the podium. Yes, sir. Did you take the oath? Sir, did you take the oath for beginning of the?
Excuse me?
Did you stand up to be sworn in? Because if you're going to speak, you have to stand up and be sworn.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else going to speak that was not sworn earlier? I might. Okay.
Okay.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name, your address,
I'm
and
Samuel Nieves, my wife Deborah. We live right across the street from the property that they're talking about building 5 homes. So my concern is that we have an elementary school right across the street also. And already the traffic for children to go to school is heavy. Also, by building more homes in that property, you're gonna have a lot more people that are gonna have children, and it's gonna create a little bit of congestion, in my opinion. To me, 5 homes in that property is a bit too much. We didn't get a description exactly of what these homes are gonna look like. Are they gonna be, I know single-family homes, but are they gonna be single-story?
we don't know.
You don't know. Oh, and also, the space between the homes. I think that, what is it, 72 inches? 6 feet? That's not enough. When you have children and you have a pet, in my opinion, and you have 2 or 3 vehicles on that driveway, the driveway is probably gonna be as wide as the home in that area. So you're gonna have more cars in that area, more children, and a more congested neighborhood. And I think that 5 homes is a little bit too much. Even 3 homes would be logical, in my opinion. So you have 1 home now, we've been there 30 years, or at least she's been there 35, right? And so even now, we see how the traffic is in the neighborhood. Anybody that's been in Oldsmar as long as we have knows that. We're getting more people coming in from out of state every day, in the whole state. And even, and our city is not big. And what happens also is that, are we gonna lose value on our property because now it's a little more congested? You know, things to think about. That was my question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Deborah Nieves, 502 St. Pete Drive West, which is across the street, and I apologize. He was speaking to you guys, so it was very difficult to hear everything he was saying because your back was to us. So there was many things I didn't understand. I know the lots are 50 by 160, which would be what we have across the street. So maybe in answering some of that, all of those 4 houses that are across the street are about 1,000 square feet. You know, so you're not getting much house on there. So I would assume that whoever's gonna come in and say, I'm buying this piece of land and I'm gonna build, yes, they're gonna go on stilts because of the flooding, because it does flood over there quite badly. So the concern I have is the type of houses. I'm assuming our values would go up, I would say.
Yes, they will.
But if you're gonna put these homes on there, are they gonna end up looking like one that's several houses down the street that looks like a monstrosity? You know, is that in the looking of Oldsmar? I don't know, but when you say that you're looking at it, you've got 6 feet On either side? This doesn't work, does it? 'Cause
It
you-
does, yeah, I can hear you fine back there. So
Well, because I have a big mouth,
the setback in that,
sorry.
the setback in that zoning district is 6 feet
On either side.
on each side, so it theoretically is 12 feet between houses, not 6 feet.
So it'd be 6 for house number 1 and 6 feet house, so that's
Correct.
12, because I was trying to do some math. That's not, I mean, your houses are gonna be pretty shrinky-dink on this way, so you're gonna go up. I mean, let's be real. So the only thing I didn't understand is if you're saying R2 is, we're R3 now, which the lots would be 75 feet, correct? Which would be, how many houses could go on there? Only 4.
So theoretically, the way, depending on the way it was subdivided, there's room to put, say, 3 duplexes. You potentially could do something like that, so it'd be 6 units instead of 5. So again, the proposal is less intensive than what they theoretically could build today.
So if it stayed the 3, then you're running the risk of having apartments. You can call them
Correct.
duplexes, but they're apartments.
It would be
Or-
multifamily, yes, I will say that.
So that's not lovely. So the only thing is the 5, because we have 4 houses right across the street that are 50, 50, 50, all the way. And if that's the way it is, that's not the worst thing in the world, I guess.
Do you have any more questions for me?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you for.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's John Blazer. Do I need my address?
Yeah.
1058 Chinaberry, Clearwater, Florida. So 50 by 160 is 8,000 square feet. If you did 2 stories, it would be much bigger than 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's what I said,
Yeah.
logically, you're gonna.
Right, so, but even if they only went 1 story, you could get 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. Right, they would use more of the lot. And, I mean, which means you'll have at least a nicer house is what you've got, I would think, with the market, because of the cost of things now. Am I allowed to talk?
Yes, go right ahead.
I get it,
Yeah.
the only thing I'm thinking of is, okay, they have a newer home that's right on the same street. I gotta go up there?
Let me share it with you. I got a louder voice than you.
Yeah. Okay. So this couple over here has a house that's down the street that's new.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lovely home. But then you have others that are built up and it looks like, they certainly don't belong in
Well, the cost of
Oldsmar.
construction is so much now that
Yes.
it costs so much more. It isn't likely, money doesn't make class, and
No.
you might have a different taste than somebody else, but it's
Yes.
highly unlikely that they would build an inferior product than what's there.
Not so much inferior, but it's just,
Well,
they're
whatever
big
word-
and they're
right.
cold and they're like,
Yeah.
they're just, okay,
Yeah.
I get it now.
And then finally to the, ma'am,
ahead.
to the gentleman, so you live across the street, but you don't want 5 people to live across the street from you? It's okay for you to live there, but not them?
Maybe 5 single people.
Yeah, but we don't know, and it's
No, I know,
just,
bro.
it's,
I don't think that's how he meant it. We were just
Yeah.
talking about congestion,
Well,
and
we
more
ha-
cars and more people on that street because they drive up and
The
down
street
the
is
street.
narrow to begin with.
yes, yeah, I'm familiar.
I mean, we know that they drive on that street like 90 miles an hour half the time anyway. You can't control that. so
No, we
that's
can't
neither
control
here-
that, and
Neither here nor there.
as Matt said, it's actually less than it could be, right?
So, I looked at the property and I've been there because I live.
Oh, you see across the way, yeah.
So I know where it ends. There's a huge ditch behind at the end of the property.
Right.
You guys have to design the drainage system to compensate for any overflow, whatever occurs that might affect the other residents across the street.
Absolutely.
No,
That's all
especially-
done in the engineering and,
Right.
yeah.
So, looking at the property, if you say 4 or 5 homes, you have enough room, 2 in the front, or let's say 2 in the back and another 1 on the side, is that the way you're looking at it? I didn't see the,
5 straight across.
oh, they're gonna be straight
They're,
across.
so the lots would be basically what you've got. So
but they're gonna run.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not able to tell you exactly what would be because these people are gonna purchase and then they've got their own taste in how things go. So we can't tell you, and I know that's kind of frustrating, we can't tell you exactly how things are gonna be, but we can say where they're gonna be and how many square feet they would be, and they wouldn't be any higher than 35 feet, and they'll be 6 feet, so we're not gonna be able to tell you exactly how it is. But
Okay, I'm going to stop this now.
Thank
It
you, Mr.
wasn't really proper for me to allow you to
I'm
talk
sorry.
like that.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
right.
I allowed it, and it's my responsibility that I did.
I'm done, Mr. Harvey.
But I just didn't want it to go any further, because I didn't want any hostilities to come up, and it sounded like some might be coming up. So, at this time, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, all right. So bottom line is, let me rephrase, let me rehash and make sure. Okay. We're looking at someone who wants to build 5 houses, 5 single-family homes on this property. These lots are 50 by 160, so that means that the houses are going to be no more than 38 feet wide, no more than 38 feet wide, but is 100 feet long if they want them that way. Right, Matt? I mean, if the setback is 6 feet on either side, that means 12 feet from 50 feet is 38 feet, so the houses can't be no wider than 38 feet, but they can be very long, correct?
Yes, the houses would have to meet the guidelines of the R2 district.
Right,
Land Development Code, which requires a 6-foot side setback on each.
yeah.
So yes, your math is correct. 12 minus, or 50 minus 12 would then be the 38.
So it'd be 38 feet wide and very long. They could be very long, okay? Okay, that's good. They're going to be at least, I think, if I understand it, they have to be on stilts, or they can put a garage downstairs, but not any formal living. Is that correct?
So all the homes be built according to the FEMA requirements, so the flood zone requirements, so they would be elevated accordingly.
Right.
And yes, on the ground level, there's not any living space. That's more for parking and storage.
Right, that's what I thought. I didn't see on the plans here where there was any, or did I? Are there leeways for driveways in here or not?
So that's all part of the site design process. So that's not something that you would approve
Okay,
tonight.
all right.
Tonight's just the rezoning.
All right, that's fine. Okay. So we got houses that can be 38 by whatever. 5 of them.
Do you have any further questions, sir?
No, thank you. No, thank you, Steve.
May I ask a question?
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have a definition for R2?
Yes, I did not include that as part of the packet, but that's absolutely available in the land development, the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code, either through our website or through Muni Code. But are you asking what the purposes of the R2 district?
In general, is there
It's meant for single-family homes.
all right. So it can't be like unlimited height or, like a office building height or something like that?
No, that's correct, 35 feet.
Okay. That's my question.
Yeah, okay, what else am I summarizing? I have to be in the flood zone. Okay, I guess that's all. Anyone else wishes to speak? All right, I'll close the public hearing then. And Steve, anything to say at this point?
Nothing further for me.
Anything to say at this point?
No, I'm okay.
Nothing further?
No, sir.
Well, okay, public hearing is closed, and I will entertain a motion at this point.
I make a motion to recommend to the planning board for the zoning amendment from R3 residential 2 and 3-story to R2 residential single family.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I would second it.
Okay. The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No? Okay, roll call vote, please, Kristen.
Yes. Board Member Pelletier,
What did she say?
Board Member Pelletier,
Yes.
Board Member Roundhouse,
Yes.
Board Member Giannikos,
Yes.
Board Member Sock,
Yes.
Vice Chair Harvey.
No. Okay, that's it, isn't it? That is it, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Let's go home. Thank you all for coming tonight.